Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the factory. Big Red here. We're back in the Mega Base. I wanted to show you guys some of what I've learned as do's and don'ts of belt splitting, managing inputs and outputs, and better ways that you can probably do something, learning from my mistakes. So here we go. Make sure if you're running multiple vertical lines of any resource, you leave yourself enough space on the outside to split back in. If you're working with conveyor poles that are adjacent, that means if this is your center line, right? This is the pole that you're on now. If you start here and you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you put a belt on this, that will leave you enough space to run these belts parallel to each other without having your belts overlap, assuming you are only splitting horizontally and merging down from one side at a time. If you need to merge both left side down and right side down at the same time, obviously you need to adjust to leave yourself some additional space. The reason you might be asking yourself, man, why is Gosu merging down so many times? Why does he have a merger down here and a merger down there 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 and a merger down there? It's because we're solving a load balancing belt prioritization problem. Right now in the game, there's not a way for me to tell these splitters, if you have space on this belt, always output to this belt first. Just having that logic available, that simple prioritization logic available, would solve a lot of the problems that we can't solve right now without having good load balancers, without that prioritization. So what we do instead is we split top down and bottom in, top down and bottom in. And what this does is it creates a logical prioritization of the higher belts that creates a backlog. So we're force feeding materials from the top belts down. So starting from here, right, coming in, we have one barrel coming in from this, we have one barrel coming in from this lowest belt, and we have one barrel coming in from the highest belt. So for the rest of this, I'm going to call this belt 1 and this belt 2, right? So right here, we're one belt 1, one belt 2. And when we merge here, again, now we end up with 2 from belt 1, or we end up with 2 from belt 2 and 1 from belt 1, because this is one belt 1, one belt 2, and then we split that with another 1 and 1, right, from the higher belt. So every time this merges, it's force feeding one additional barrel down into the lower belts. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, come jump into the Twitch channel and ask away, and I answer questions the whole time that I'm streaming. I'm happy to help you guys out. So that's prioritizing throughput from higher belts, or prioritizing resources from higher belts to lower belts. All right. Now, we started measuring everything in our base in units of Pirate Ninjas because saying fully saturated Mark IV belts of all resources got really old. So we hijacked the term from Andy Weir's The Martian. Shameless plug, really great book. If you haven't read it, I recommend reading it. Much better than the movie, much more thorough. So we calculated from this 30 rubber per minute. We have belts that do 450 units per minute. So you take that 450 divided by 30, you end up with 15. So that means that for each 15 oil refineries that we put down, we need that can create a maximum capacity of a Pirate Ninja. So we'd split off a Pirate Ninja every 15. That means we actually end up with, give or take, I think that's 4 or 5. Yeah, we end up with 5, 6. Oh man, we end up with 6 belts. A couple of these aren't fully saturated. I don't really care, because we do that merge down prioritization, and the end rubber capacity at the end of at the back of the factory is what we need. So that's really what we're going for. All right, so that's how we handle belts, splitters, and getting into the main bus. Let me show you an example of belts in the main bus, and then we'll come back and we'll look at these tower stacks that I built for us to look at as an example. Oh my gosh, who's been here? I blame our multiplayer partners. I'd never do something as monstrous as that. All right, so we're running our screws from our screw production up here. And like I said, we're prioritizing top-down splitting, right? So we're going, and this is one of the first belts that we put in this factory. This has grown significantly, right? Yeah, I don't even, yeah, you can barely see the end of the factory over there. So we're doing top-down splitting, right? Split here, split here, split here, and continue moving down. So after early release, a lot of this was built during closed beta. After early release, we figured out that you can do this, and there's a separate video talking through just exactly how to build this. But from now on, if I need to do this again, this is what I'm going to solve, because this gives us, in that same amount that we were getting one split and merge before, because all we had really was this top row, right? In the same amount of space that we were getting one split down, we've now got 3 bottom belt merges, which is really what you're really going to be measuring your throughput from top belt down in your bottom belt merges. This factory is doing 20 supercomputers a minute and 20 motors per minute. When we were adding frames back in to do 2020, we started running into a bunch of issues, and we were going to need to refactor again with the new alt recipes that were available. And long story short, we're breaking the base up into microfactories. Check us out on Twitch if you want to follow that journey. I'll be posting videos here as we make that content. All right, so let's check this out. This is a very common belt elevator method that I see people doing on Twitch when I'm checking out other people's Satisfactory streams. Goes up super easy. This is so easy to build. Literally, you just grab your walls, right? Your conveyor belt walls, and you just, yeah, that was the right one. You grab your perpendicular conveyor wall, and you go snap, snap, and then snap, snap on the outside of a 2-grid block, and you run your belts up, and that's it. You're done. That's the whole setup. That's everything that you need to do. The limit here is that you can only run 4 resources vertically, right? So you have this resource that's coming out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have a belt collision. So it doesn't matter whether you run your 4 in here, or you run your 4, you do some finagling and you bring them in on the ground level and come up here. I would highly recommend, if you're going to do this, that you bring all of your resources in on this second level and come in from over here somewhere. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is 4 belts vertical in a 2x2 block. Now check this out. This is 4 belts vertical in a 1 1/4 block. So the way that we built this, we're going to rebuild this real quick. So the way that we built this, we start from, I'm not going to have enough space over there, so I'm going to start here. Let's start from the forward edge. So we may have to replace one of these. Basically, I want to put this conveyor pole backable. That's about the edge of where that's going to be. When you place these, start from center line. Go 1, 2. That's a tight 90, right? That gets you, that's the tightest corner that you can put down here. So we're going to do the same thing. Start center line. Go, oh, I'm sorry, I take that back. I was thinking about the other build. So starting from here, go 1, 2, 3. This should be, I think that's 1 off. I think I need to go 1 more forward. Yep. So from here, go 1, 2, 3. Aim safe. 1, 2, 3, right? And then that snaps up there. Now check this out, because this is where your life is going to get easier. So from here, we start at center line on this stacking conveyor pole, right? And we go 1, 2. So now we've got the spacing here. Now this is the great part. You can now pick this up, and when you snap this from here to here, you get your 90 and you get your vertical. It's exactly the same shape, but you do not have to manage that other connection, right? Now we're going to do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3. Make sure that this snaps together correctly. Our spacing is good. All right, our spacing is good. We go center line here. 1, 2. Let's get that up. snaps up there. We're looking good. We're looking good, everybody. Okay, and now this one, we've got our grid alignment here. We've got our grid alignment here, so we're just going to do 1, 2. I'm going to pick that up. Real quick, we need to go 4 or 5. And then this is going to snap onto there. See? And now when we come back to this belt on this side, put this up. And there's our 4. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's a 1.25 conveyor vertical or that's 4 belts vertical in a 1.25 grid square. I think there's a slightly tighter way to do this to go up faster, where you put down a ramp. You put down a ramp here, and then you put this belt down, and it allows you to actually spin up slightly faster. I don't like building on uneven ground, so I don't use that as part of my build. There are channels out there that you can see that on. All right, so this bad boy, we're 2 by 2 grid, right? We're on the 2 by 2 line. You can actually put a wall up around the outside of this. If you take walls and you put a wall down, you can snap your wall to the outside of this and still be good. You can't snap a wall here. We may have to do a rebuild. We'll do that on another day. But in a 2 by 2 foundation square, you get 11 belts vertical. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Man, I'm just all kinds of prepared today, guys. All kinds of ready. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. That's 12. Interesting. And all this is same thing that we did before. We start from our outside pole and do 1 from here. We go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? And then build the corner, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 here. Build the corner. 3 sets of 3. Build the corner. 3 sets of 3. Build the corner, right? And then stack, go vertically, and then do the same thing for the 1 1/4 grid inside that we already put on the other spot. And you guys can see this runs up vertically really well. So hopefully this helps solve a problem for somebody. If you want to see us and what we're doing now with our build, stop by and check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/almost__gosu. Look forward to seeing you around. Catch you next time.